Here at FiTV, our mission is to connect you with state lawmakers while they are hard at work inside Florida's Capitol. While all 160 lawmakers have their own way of making a difference, the Speaker of the House of Representatives is one of the most powerful individuals in the legislative process and often sets the tone for each legislative session. In this edition of FiTV, we travel to Flagler Beach, Florida to get to know a man selected by his peers to serve in the vaunted leadership position beginning in 2022. Sandwiched between Jacksonville and the Daytona Speedway, the 24th district he represents is slower paced compared to the other regions on Florida's East Coast. But that is just the way the locals like it. Home to world-class beaches, freshwater hideaways, delicious seafood, rich history, and lined with charming old Florida coastal towns, this area is a relaxing haven away from big city life. Visitors are wise to take a walk on the iconic Flagler Pier, surrounded with local coffee shops and distinctive restaurants. Here in this idyllic coastal setting is where we find future Speaker of the Florida House, Paul Renner. Just before Renner will help shape another chapter in Florida's history, we wanted to get to know the man behind the office and ask him what he believes will be the focus of his time as Speaker. I had the opportunity to explore Flagler Beach with him in person and find out.
All right, so FiTV viewers, you know, what they really want to see is they want to see who's the man kind of behind the office. So we're hoping to get a little insight into you and kind of what it was like growing up and what those influences are. So let's start, first of all, what's it like growing up in the Renner household for you?
I had a really kind of ideal upbringing. You know, I was a preacher's kid. Mom was a school teacher, so a lot of church, a lot of school, a lot of sports growing up.
Yeah?
Those three.
So preacher, I mean, that's a pretty wholesome background. That's pretty cool. All right, so who had more influence, mom or dad?
You know, both of them. Dad on work ethic, you know, they were both hard workers, but he was always out. You know, if somebody was going into the hospital or marriage was in trouble, he'd go and counsel, and my mom was always the one that kind of brought it back to family.
Yeah, so
she was very family-centered.
So what's like the one lesson your dad taught you that you still hear today in your head, you know? My dad was like, you can do anything you put your mind to. I mean, something like that.
Yeah, now for both of them, I think it would be, you know, God's got a plan for everybody. If you work hard and you figure that plan out, you can do anything. And I think that's a lesson that everybody needs to hear, but
the old
that would be the lesson.
You want to hear God laugh, show him your plan.
Right, exactly, exactly. So they were very encouraging in that regard.
So, all right, so you're growing up, you're playing sports. Was there any one sport you liked better than another?
I started with baseball and then soccer. Those were the two big ones.
Yeah.
And, but I ran track, cross country,
all right.
A little bit of football, believe it or not.
Sure, it's Florida. It's all America right here, but yet you have a beach going along with the whole lifestyle. All right, so if we go into school, right, everybody had those few teachers that just had a huge impact on their life. I mean, do you have an example? Who was that one teacher or that coach that made a big difference in your life?
Well, teacher-wise, I'd have to say my mom, you know, because she was like the original Head Start program. So she was teaching me how to read before I ever hit school.
Right.
And Dad, you know, coaches, I would say, you know, just striving for excellence.
Yeah.
You know, that's a great thing about sports is they're always pushing you to your limits. And so I had a lot of great coaches growing up as well.
Well, let's hit on faith, because you can't grow up in a preacher's household and not think about how that influences what you do every day. Right. I mean, what was the regimen that was instilled with you as far as, you know, kind of prayerful intention and just kind of having that influence on your life?
You know, it really goes back to just understanding why we're here.
Yeah.
And we've got a purpose. Everybody's got a purpose, and God loves us. And again, you know, if we find His plan and work hard and apply ourselves, there's nothing we can't do. We just got to make sure we're following kind of in the path He's got for us. And again, I grew up in a household where both of my parents really exhibited that. Yeah. They lived it. They didn't just talk the talk.
Right.
So I was very fortunate in that way.
You got a favorite verse?
Got a lot of favorite verses.
I mean, come on, man. I mean, you know.
Yeah, but
everyone's got the one.
Lean not onto your own understanding, but in all your ways, you know, acknowledge Him, and He'll direct your paths.
I love it.
Proverbs, so.
I love it. I love it. All right, tell us a little bit about what was it like growing up here in this community. I mean, you know, what's the good aspects of it? What do people need to know about Flagler?
You know, it's friendly. I mean, all of Northeast Florida, where I grew up in Jacksonville, and the whole area is just, you know, one of the most friendly areas of the country.
Yeah.
You got all the benefits of Florida, but you got kind of that southern
Right.
style in Northeast Florida. Here, I mean, look up what we're looking at in all directions. It's old Florida. You don't
Yeah.
see skyscrapers. You just see a fantastic quality of life.
Yeah, I mean, you really get to experience Florida here in the northeast part of the state. So
like an old beach town.
That's really cool. Now, is this one of those towns where you walk through and you see Bob and Sue and Mary and everybody you've known for a long time?
Sure, it's a small town. And we're in
Yeah.
Flagler Beach right now, a very small city, and
Right.
so people know each other, and so you see each other out when you're out in town.
It's a big time small business community.
Exactly.
I'm not saying that. All right. Is there a restaurant around here we need to go, check out, or a few? I think we're
Yeah,
gonna
well,
have to.
we're right close to the pier. We can go down to Tortugas down the road,
All
which
right.
is a close and great
Well,
place.
That sounds great. Let's go. So Paul, we're here at Tortugas, amazing restaurant.
Yeah,
Great view of the bay. I'm sorry that this is where you have to work every day. I'm a little jealous.
Yeah,
I'm coming
it's tough.
down. I'm going to make reasons to come down and interview you again. But so we talked a little bit about the family. We talked about the upbringing, the community. So you're here. Your dad didn't serve in the military, not a military family, but you went ahead and signed up for the Navy. What drove you to that decision?
You know, maybe it was Top Gun or growing up in a Navy town, you know, in Jacksonville, but always thought I'd like to be in the military, and so went down to the recruiter. And my idea was to, be a naval aviator. So I had great vision, still have great vision.
Right.
No glasses
Right.
yet, but
What are you saying?
But spatial ability, you don't want me flying a plane. I'm gonna ride in the mountain. No spatial ability. So we have this other thing called surface warfare, which is the guys on the ships. And
Right.
so that's what I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It was great leadership experience.
Okay, so I've heard a little bit about this part from you. Now, you also did advance work for a fleet before they would go into these foreign countries. So tell me a little bit about what was that like?
Yeah, that was on in the reserves, and so active duty. I was over in Desert Storm, and then got out and did the 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks every year. And that 2 weeks every year, I was in a unit where we went to South America as sort of an advanced team.
Right.
And so before the ships would arrive, we'd go down, work through the embassy, and make sure everything was lined up for whatever was going to happen. And the guys would come in and do community relations projects. So maybe go paint an orphanage or fix some of their plumbing or whatever they needed done. The Navy band would come down and play in a mall, and we'd make sure the groundwork was laid for them.
Right.
If guys had to leave, when they came in, they had to leave because of a sick relative or their wife's pregnant. We'd go through the process with a local government to make sure they could get back out.
Right.
And they had no passports. Obviously, they came in on a ship, and so we'd get them out.
All right, so let's talk about what serving in the military and serving our country did for Paul Renner. Now, you grew up in this idyllic community in northeast Florida. Parents were religious and just great moral background. But what did serving in the military do to you? How did it change you? Tell me about that.
I wear undershirts to bed every night, bad short haircuts, that kind of thing. No, but it was a really amazing experience, great friendships, because you're doing something that where, certainly when you're serving overseas, where your life's at risk, and so the bond between men and women that serve in the military is very, very close. Right. And great leadership experience.
All right, so you get out of the military and you went to law school. Where'd you go to law school?
Florida.
Okay.
Go Gators.
Okay, all right, go Gators. That's good, once again. So what kind of law did you practice after graduating from law school?
Went to the prosecutor's office in
Okay.
Broward County.
All right, so what was that like?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Great experience. So it's kind of like being back in
Prosecutor,
college.
defense?
Prosecutor.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the state side. And so it's kind of like being back in college because you're making no money. I think
Right.
I made $23,000.
Right.
They pay you the first of the month, and by the end of the month, you're packing a peanut butter sandwich to bring to work. But you're in trial every week, so it was really you're on your A game the whole time, and really riding the white horse. And so it was an amazing experience.
So a little bit of adrenaline there in the court.
Very much.
A little LA law. If we've watched,
Yeah.
some of the law shows, that was you in the court. Or
Not really.
Putting bad guns
Yeah,
away. All right,
just doing
it's
my
all good.
best.
All right, so let's turn. So we've got the military experience, fascinating, and you're a lawyer, but you're much more than that. So tell us a little bit about your wife. How'd you meet her? And then I'm going to ask you, how has she changed Paul Renner? So how'd you meet her?
Yeah, through friends.
Yeah.
And so we're in that point, you know, the first 90 days, you're perfect, no, you're perfect, you know, and everything's great. And then I get orders to go to Afghanistan.
Right.
So there was a year where we're, you know, talking on the phone. I'm in Afghanistan, she's back here in Florida, and so you really get to know somebody.
Yeah.
And you know, she's somebody that's got a huge heart and just an amazing woman.
And I know she's got a nationality. Where is she from?
Colombia.
You know,
Colombia, yeah.
So all right, so you've got some big family values kind of person. So any differences between being in her family versus your family, or all the same? You know.
You know, we're both, I mean, both of our families are very close, and she's very family-centered. You know, I'm always thinking about, you know, what's our next 5 years look like, our next 10 years look like, and she brings me back to today.
Right.
You know, she reminds me you got to appreciate today.
Yeah,
and
it's just like, see those dishes? Those still need to be done, right?
Yeah, making the most of today.
Right, that's great. All right, so so you got the family now, or you got the wife, and you got the service. So what made you want to run for public office?
You know, coming out of the Navy, or being ready to come out of the Navy, and it seemed like the next step in public service, and I just wasn't happy with where the country was headed. Frankly, this was in, you know, coming back from Afghanistan in 2011, 2012 election, and a seat opened up, and so I went for it.
So you decide to run for public office. You know, tell us about your first race. Some of the process, no, but tell the story.
Yeah, so first race for State House, you know, the member vacates in the middle of the term. We weren't sure if there'd be a special election or a regular election. Had a very contested primary, a lot of money. We're both working very hard. 12,000 votes cast, 2 votes. Oh. We go into a recount, you know, it lasts over about a week's time, and so you learn that when they say every vote counts, every vote counts.
Why did you want to run for office in the first place?
You know, it was 20 years in the Navy, active in reserve, and that was coming to an end. And it was just something that I'd thought about before, and I was concerned about kind of where the country was headed. Wanted to make sure we were talking about the things that brought us to be the strongest, freest, most prosperous country in the world. And so when the opportunity opened up, I went for it.
Get in and make a difference. Yeah. All right. So you run again. Obviously, it was successful. I mean, do we call you landslide Renner now?
Yeah, that's right. If you win by 4 votes, it's a landslide.
Right. Anything more than that's a landslide.
That's right.
I love it. I love it. Well, what's your favorite part about serving?
I think, you know, during our lives, we try to help people in our own way, and we can do that. From the state level, you know, having the privilege to do things that affect 20 million people, right, and change their lives for the better is a really, really neat thing. And I feel like every session we're doing things of great consequence.
So you're obviously passionate about serving your community. What are you hoping to do? Like, what are your hopes when you finish up here? What do you want to see?
You know, for this area, I think, you know, greater economic development. It's a fantastic place to live. There's tremendous quality of life here already, but just making sure that jobs are here, so that kids that grow up here will want to stay here and want to come back to live in this district. These 3 counties I represent, St. John's, Flagler, and Volusia, are just as you see today, just an amazing place to live.
Yeah, this is pretty much Chamber of Commerce perfectness right here. So I love it. I love it.
It's a great secret, but we want to let that secret out a little bit.
All right, so it's no secret to many that are watching FiTV, but you've been selected by your peers to become Speaker of the House in 2023. How do you want to start on day one? What do you want your peers to know that will serve in that House? And ultimately, when you're done, what do you want said about you?
You know, I would say leave a legacy. You know, nobody, most people don't know who we are now anyway, but nobody will know who we are when we're gone. But if you can do things while you're there, we're 8-year term limited, if you can do things while you're there that are game changers, that will really transform, whether it's education or healthcare, whatever your passion is, do that. And do it with a sense of urgency. You never know whether your next election is going to be your last. And so do it with a sense of urgency and leave something behind that will last. Well, I know everyone's looking forward to seeing what your hand on the process will do as Speaker, and obviously elections do matter. But you know, if you had to handicap Florida, and you know, tell us what you think Florida's doing really well right now, and what do you want Florida to improve in? Sure. You know, I think we're doing a lot of stuff well. We were just voted the #1 state in the country in terms of our fiscal health. We're AAA credit rated. We've got no income tax. We are a friendly place for job creation and opportunity, and we are continuing every year to expand freedom and opportunity for every Floridian, and so that's a big deal. In the future, I would say we've got to look towards the 5, 10, 20 years out. 6 million people coming into the state, and that's a lot of pressure on our water, our environment, on our workforce, all of these things. We've got to make sure we stay at our A game and continue to be at the top as we are today.
Yeah. Your district's been hit by a couple of hurricanes.
Yes.
You had A1A kind of wiped out. How is your district recovering?
You know, it's been a long recovery, but the community came together just down the road here on A1A. It looked like somebody took an ice cream scoop out of the road. I mean, literally washed away. And we came in, and the governor's credit and the people that did the work in 18 days had that road be rebuilt, which kept some of these businesses like this one in business.
Yeah. So beach renourishment. I mean, obviously that's a focus on anyone that has the beach in their district. You know, what are you looking at in that area?
We got $13 million to help with the process, and the county put in money, and it's going to be a long-term effort. First the dunes, and after that, bringing beach sand offshore into the shore to lengthen that out so that when the next storm comes, it's not wiping out homes, wiping out roads, and threatening us. So it's going to be a long, long road.
Well, and that all ties back to making sure the economy is in such a good posture that it can fund the needs of, you know, government to be able to come in and help you guys do that. So
yeah. I mean, the community came together in an amazing way. People in this restaurant, all the way down the strip, that kind of came together to make sure that there was traffic so people could continue to come down here and spend money and keep these businesses in business while that reconstruction happened. So it was a great story.
It's important. It's important. All right, now we're going to ask the big important question. I mean, I know we've talked about important stuff, but for the internet and television industry and our viewers, they want to know, what does Representative Renner stream? What do you watch when you're not taking on the matters of state?
Not a lot of time, but when my wife's away and I've got time to kill with the dogs, you know, I've watched Narcos on Netflix. That's a great one.
Very good. It's good for teaching you Spanish.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's good. I'm a fan.
I'd say Man in the High Castle.
Yeah.
You know, what would have happened if our military and our allies didn't win World War II?
Yeah.
It's an ugly thing to think about.
All right, crime dramas and historical alteration dramas. Good,
Yeah.
good. Well, we'll keep making some more of those for you to take your mind off the important stuff. All
Sounds
right?
good.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, man. All right.
Appreciate you.
FiTV thanks Representative Paul Renner for hosting us in the 24th District, and we appreciate his service to the state of Florida. If you find yourself at the Flagler Pier, look around. You just might find him there. We hope you enjoyed getting to know the person behind the office.
On behalf of the 150,000 people who work to make the internet and television industry in Florida possible, thank you for watching FiTV.